Welcome to our very first virtual performance. If you appreciate how difficult this process has been, because not only did they have to come up with the work, but then they had to figure out how to document it, make it fit on squares, learn how to use all the tech. They had to learn how to use Zoom and use Google and do things that you don't normally have to. It's enough to make the work. So this is exponentially more challenging, which makes what they did really extraordinary. So.
This is Perry Perry reporting for Channel 3.5. Sad news today. So please join me in remembering yet another great icon of the entertainment community. The Pillsbury Doughboy died yesterday of a yeast infection and traumatic complications from repeatedly being poked in his belly during his lifetime. The veteran Pillsbury spokesman was 71. Doughboy survived by his wife, Play-Doh, 3 children, John Doe, Jane Doe, and Dildo. Plus they also had one in the oven, Dosey Doe. He is also survived by his elderly father, Pop-Tart. Services were held yesterday at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes. Doughboy was buried in a lightly greased coffin. Dozens of celebrities turned out to pay their respects, including the Jolly Green Giant, Hungry Jack, the California Raisins, the Hostess Twinkies, and Captain Crunch. The gravesite was piled high with flowers, whole wheat, and self-rising. Longtime friend Betty Crocker delivered a eulogy describing Doughboy as a man who never knew how much he was needed.
Biscuits and croissants and soft flaky dough. We are here because we loved you so and all you brought.
Doughboy rose quickly in show business, but his later life was filled with turnovers. He was not considered a very smart cookie, wasting much of his dough on half-baked schemes. Despite being a little flaky at times, but was thought of as a role model for millions. Toward the end, it was thought he would rise again. But alas, he remained unleavened. May he rest in yeast.
Don't you mean in peace?
I mean in peace. This is Perry Perry reporting for Channel 3.5.
Oh. Hi, everyone. I'm Evan Johnson, and thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much to Deb Slater, Studio 210, and of course, Bhumi Patel Danceworks. That was phenomenal. Congratulations, everyone. I know this part of the program is where we ask the audience some questions. And I guess the thing I'm most curious about is what struck your curiosity about this work, about either the process or about the content that we shared. So what struck your curiosity? What resonated with you?
My first response to Evan's question is I thought it was so interesting in that first piece when the voiceover was talking about the dictionary, and it's so interesting seeing this juxtaposition of like hearing these voices and talking about these things, but also like you mentioned, that voiceover mentioned the dictionary. And I thought it was so interesting. It struck me when the text literally said that she looked on the computer for her dictionary, like to look this word up in the dictionary. And I am like, what happened to the book? Like,
thank you all so much for being here tonight, and thank you to Evan and to all of the performers that just participated in that. It was so beautiful to see the whole program.
Like kindness as a weapon, and like complacency and shit. Like wondering people's critical thoughts on like if it's actually deconstructing white supremacy to be like making art about that, or like ways that it just recenters whiteness. And like, I don't know, I obviously know that that's a reflection like for counterpoles generally, and just like a lot of nonprofits and a lot of artists. So just any critical perspectives, either that like those dancers have, or I don't know, like any honest like thoughts people want to voice about that or would be willing to share.
I'm not white, so I can't speak for the white folks in the cast. But I will say that to me, like interrogating one's own positions of power is necessary in order to decenter one's own position of power. Because if you don't understand it, it feels performative to try to decenter it. And I hope that's what we were sort of getting at in this process. I don't know what the dancers and performers experienced, though.
From my whiteness to just take in the sound, the voice, the images, and the voice, I think, and work with what I heard, saw, felt, and watched as my work to do.
But the process of being disrupted can be incredibly uncomfortable and alarming and all kinds of things. And I think we're all sort of stumbling our way forward together. And I really appreciate all the conversations that people are willing to have with me of all flavors right now, because I feel like everyone is having a different kind of experience, but there's something about some basic humanity that we can share. And
observation. What I observe is a lot of people in like mainstream dance culture who are white taking on narratives and cultures and practices that are not of theirs and wrestling with that and being inside of it as they perform. What I see far less often is white people interrogating their own lineages and the consequences of those lineages, both for them and everybody else locally and globally. I hope there's value to that, but what I want to say is, for me, it's rare to witness.
I have a question. I actually am thinking about Bhumi's piece with your questions on the screen. Were those intended for this conversation, or were they intended for moving beyond this moment and keeping those questions in mind?
They weren't supposed to lead this conversation. They were sort of like condensed, paraphrased versions of some of the prompts that we worked with in rehearsal. And I was attempting to create like a container prior to hearing the voices of the dancers answering questions that no one except me and them knew. So that's where that came from.
One thing that I found fascinating was the juxtaposition of the two sets of performers, the Cosmic Elders and then the other performers who were all much, much younger than the Cosmic Elders. And I was wondering what it meant to both of those sets of people to be performing beside each other in that way. If there was significance or meaning or power in that for you.
This was extraordinarily well done, and I am so appreciative of that. And I mean this as a compliment, but you mess up my mind really, really, really well with going to places that I don't get, whatever.
Your beautiful performances.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.